Hello there. Welcome to Dee's Planet. I'm Devki and today's episode is going to be about sustainable cookware, cast iron and clay. So stay tuned. So when I got married, I was gifted this kitchen in a box set from a very popular brand which consisted of several of these non-stick Teflon pans and pots. I was obviously thrilled because I had never used such cookware before. As spinsters, we were a group of girls renting out an apartment with a very basic kitchen. These fancy pans promised that food would never get stuck to the surface, making it easy to clean, and they would also allow us to cook food with less oil. Cookware managed to keep their promise. A novice cook like me managed to cook the fluffiest of the omelets and the crispiest of the dosas, all thanks to these non-stick cookware. Now everything was going great until I started reading up more about what actually goes behind making these non-stick cookware. And that's when I found out that these non-stick Teflon cookware are actually made up of aluminium. And they have an outer coating called as Teflon which gives them this non-stick ability. But one major thing that often gets overlooked is that Teflon has the ability of converting into a very harmful chemical when these cookware are exposed to very high temperatures. Also, you have to take extreme care to make sure that you are not scratching the surface by using any metal spoons or steel wool. If by mistake you scratch the surface of such cookware, then the Teflon coating comes out, and this is called as Teflon leaching. And there's a lot of medical research to prove that Teflon leaching in the food can even be cancerous. Also, we cannot deny the fact that the underlying metal in all such cookware is finally aluminium. When it was first introduced, aluminium became very popular in the cookware range, primarily because it was abundantly available, it was cheap, and it was lightweight. Aluminium is a highly reactive metal that reacts with the oxygen in the atmosphere, and a compound called as aluminium oxide gets formed. This aluminium oxide gets accumulated on the aluminium cookware and it starts getting mixed up with the food whenever you cook anything in this aluminium cookware. Whenever we eat the food prepared in such aluminium cookware, this aluminium oxide starts getting accumulated in the human bodies. Long-term accumulation of aluminium oxide can even lead to renal and kidney failure and even dementia. Also, you cannot cook foods which are acidic in nature in aluminium cookware. Foods such as tamarind or lemon or tomatoes, which are actually an integral part of our Indian cuisine. After knowing all these hazardous qualities of such Teflon coated cookware, the question I want to ask is, why are we still using these in our kitchen? Why are we inviting all these health hazards? The common answer I got was that we don't have a solution. Well, I don't agree. We definitely have a solution, and no, the solution is not too impractical or too difficult to implement either. The solution to this is replace all your non-stick Teflon cookware with unglazed clay cookware and cast iron cookware. So let's break this down one by one to make things easy to understand. So what exactly is cast iron? Cast iron is made by melting blocks of steel and iron together. The molten metal is poured into molds to give the desired shape, such as whether you want a pan or a pot. Once cooled, the mold is broken and out comes the final cookware. Now, cast iron is not a new entrant in the cookware range. You can raid your grandparents' kitchen and I'm pretty sure you'll find one or two cast iron pans from their collection. Traditionally, the cast iron cookware sold in India is unbranded. You can easily find these cast iron cookware being sold in your local bazaars, markets or fairs. In fact, I bought all of my cast iron cookware in the same manner. So when you purchase a brand new cast iron pan, you will notice that the top surface is not going to be completely smooth. But don't worry, it's very easy to smoothen this surface. You just have to use a steel wool like this and apply a little pressure on the top of the surface to try to remove rust marks or any of the irregularities. Then you can hold it under a running tap. You can wash it with a normal dishwashing soap and wipe it off dry with a kitchen towel or a cloth. And that's it. Your pan is ready to use. And you know what is the best part? You don't even have to worry about scratching and damaging the top surface like in a Teflon pan. Okay, so now coming to why cast iron. Cast iron is a porous metal that tends to give out its own flavor into the food that you're cooking in it. So whenever you cook food in any cast iron cookware, you'll find that your food gets more flavorful. So since cast iron cookware is made up of iron, it tends to give out iron into your food. So that means you can forget those extra iron supplements when you are regularly cooking in such cookware. Isn't that wonderful? One more thing, all cast iron cookware need to be seasoned with some vegetable oil before they are first used and every time they are washed. For seasoning of my cookware, I like to use coconut oil because that's the locally available oil for me. But then the choice is completely yours. You can use any vegetable oil. Once properly seasoned, oil tends to fuse with the cookware, giving it a nice non-stick coating. And do you know the best part? This naturally developed non-stick coating is not even harmful like the non-stick coating of a Teflon cookware. Unlike the Teflon cookware, which tend to wear out with usage and which tend to develop scratches when you use any metal spoons, you don't have that fear when you use cast iron cookware. So that also means investing in cast iron cookware is like a long-term investment. Cast iron cookware that you buy today can faithfully serve your family for generations to come, and you can easily pass them down to your children and even their grandchildren. What can be more sustainable than this when we live in a world where constant advertisements tell us to replace our stuff every now and then? Human beings have been using such unglazed clay cookware to cook their meals since the time they learned to cook. It's just that with the advent of flashy, fancy, expensive cookware gaining more popularity due to their aggressive marketing, these humble clay pots were somewhere lost in the background. It's time to revive them. Did you know clay has several health benefits? Clay is naturally porous and it has insulation properties. This causes heat and moisture to circulate throughout these pots. Because of this, there is much lesser moisture and nutrient loss when we are cooking in clay pots as compared to when we cook in the conventional metal cookware. Also, you can't deny the fact that clay cookware are the cheapest cookware in the entire cookware range. They may not look as fancy and flashy as some of those non-stick Teflon pans, but when you buy clay cookware, you get that additional satisfaction that you are supporting the local potter and in turn supporting the local economy too. Now some of you may argue that clay pot is not as durable as a metal pot. I agree, it's highly fragile. But so is glass cookware. But don't we still use glass cookware at home? What about all those fancy glass cups and saucers that we have in our kitchens? So just as you would be careful while using your glassware, you need to be careful when you are using your clay cookware as well. Despite all that, if you accidentally happen to break your clay cookware, you don't have to worry too much because it finally goes back into the Mother Earth. What can be more sustainable and zero waste than that? Just like your cast iron cookware, you need to season all your clay cookware before you start actually cooking in them. Here's what I like to do. I like to collect all the water after washing off the rice, and I pour all this water inside my clay pot and put it on the stove and give it a good boil for around 5 to 10 minutes. Once it starts boiling, take the clay pot off the stove. I store this rice water in the clay pot for an entire day. The next day, I discard the water and give it a good rinse with clean water, and it's ready for use. This small step ensures that the raw smell of the clay goes away and also all the pores are filled. So that's it for today. If you like this video, please remember to hit on that like button. You can also share this video with your friends and family. Consider subscribing to my channel if you would like to see more such simple ideas on living sustainably. Also hit on that bell icon so that you never miss the latest uploads on this channel. The name of the channel is Dee's Planet, and this is Devki signing off. Bye-bye.